Right, hello guys, welcome back. Last Tuesday, the reveal stream for Destiny 2's next expansion, The Edge of Fate, took place, and within it were revealed tons of new details previously unknown and a lot of exciting new information. But also, a lot of older information from previous blog posts was shown to be updated, like the mysterious special ammo stat no longer existing, and furthermore, there were actually tons of hidden details shown within the gameplay snippets that you probably didn't catch. So today, I'm going to take you through every single detail from the Edge of Fate reveal stream in a concise recap format to get you fully up to speed. So to start things off, let's get familiar with some names and some dates. The next multi-year saga of Destiny 2 is going to be called the Fate Saga, and the next year of the game will be known as the Year of Prophecy, beginning with the Edge of Fate on July 15th, 2025, which is actually only around 10 weeks away. And furthermore, the names and some dates were confirmed for future expansions too. Renegades is the second expansion in the Year of Prophecy, launching on the 2nd of December 2025. And then in the following year, the two featured expansions are named Shattered Cycle and The Alchemist, but nothing is known about them yet. The Edge of Fate and all future expansions moving forward are described to be a little bigger than Rise of Iron in terms of size and scope, and for the Edge of Fate specifically, the core story is going to revolve around the Nine and all the mysteries that surround them. So with that out of the way, let's get into the good stuff, starting with the first official gameplay reveal trailer shown early on in the stream, and from it there were a few details that stood out that are worth mentioning. The first being seemingly a new exotic hand cannon that's able to switch between arc and stasis that shoots out devastating AoE blasts, with the animation on this thing looking pretty damn nice. Consider me excited for this one. They also showed off the new Fallen House of Exile that's coming with a host of new units like Flying Corsairs, Strand Wretches, a unit with a stasis weapon that was only shown for a few short frames, and after that a really awesome shot of what appears to be humanity's collapse with the ominous pyramid ships in the background destroying a human city. After the initial gameplay trailer was shown, they started going into more depth about everything that was shown within it, starting with the brand new destination known as Kepler. So let's break down everything they discussed. Contrary to what many people initially believed, we aren't actually leaving our solar system in the Edge of Fate, because Kepler is described to be a planetoid far out on the edge of the solar system, so we're still in the home system, just really far away. The first thing they talked about pertaining to gameplay with Kepler is this new concept of world tiers, and they didn't really provide too much context, but from what they did say, world tiers appear to be a form of difficulty option that progresses the more you play on the destination itself, and seemingly by completing the campaign and associated side quests, your world tier will increase, thus increasing the difficulty of the world but also improving the rewards it offers. They also stated that as your world tier increases, previous puzzles that were solved in one way can now be solved in a different and easier way than they could before. And immediately my mind likens this to shortcuts you can find in single player games like Elden Ring, where if you complete a big section of a level, it unlocks an easier path through it as a reward for your efforts. So I'm quite keen to hear more on this as time goes on. However, the biggest additions relating to Kepler are by far the new world abilities that take your existing light and dark abilities and transform them into unique combat and puzzle solving tools exclusive to the destination itself. And thematically, these abilities are a mix between a given light or dark ability and dark matter, a new mysterious power present throughout all of Kepler that is neither light or dark. It's its own thing, and actually it's what the Nine themselves are made from, so very spooky indeed. In the stream, 3 of these abilities were shown off, so let's get to breaking them all down, starting with the coolest looking one known as Matter Spark. Matter Spark is a mix between dark matter and arc light that lets you turn yourself into an arc ball infused with dark matter, letting you run and jump, squeeze into tight areas, and become a walking Tesla coil that deals constant damage over time to any nearby enemies. The Matter Spark ball is also seen to apply the Jolt debuff as well, so it will have several synergies with the arc subclass as a whole. Matter Spark also has a charge meter on the left of the screen that once full appears to act like a bolt charge detonation, where it deals a good chunk of damage, then goes back to charging the meter once more after it detonates. The next ability is the Relocator Cannon, and not much gameplay was shown of this one, but it's described as a fallen device that mixes dark matter with void light and allows you to bypass laser walls and teleport around the world. The third and final ability shown is called Matter Morph, which is a mix between dark matter and strand, and once active, it changes your melee ability into a sort of force push and pull like from Star Wars that lets you manipulate certain geometry pieces to open doorways, make bridges, or reveal secrets. And there was actually quite a cool segment shown where you first had to use Matter Morph to form a bridge in the ceiling, then use Matter Spark to traverse it and continue on from there. So expect to see all 3 of these abilities working in tandem when it comes to puzzle solving and combat. In order to gain access to these abilities, you first have to consume a dark matter bulb from a nearby dark matter growth, granting you the stabilized dark matter buff, which instantly changes your melee ability into the Matter Morph ability. And then to enter things things like Matter Spark, you then have to find a Matter Spark pad, and after interacting with it, morphs you into the Matter Spark ball itself. There were also a few details I noticed from the gameplay where a Guardian is seen to become amplified after exiting Matter Spark, and then another example of the max charge Matter Spark detonation. And the devs did say that each of these abilities are going to be upgradable throughout your playthrough, so the amplified on exit could very well be one of these upgrades. And apparently, one of the endgame upgrades for Matter Spark specifically is going to be something truly game-changing for how you interact with Kepler as a whole, so we'll just have to wait and see what that entails. On a more general note, Dark Matter is going to be a central artistic theme on Kepler with how it affects things like the environment, the people you meet, and how it's going to, and I quote, bring these things that are unstuck in time to this location. So definitely some interesting story tidbits to unpack there. Speaking of story, Kepler is going to introduce a brand new character named Lodi who will be a core part of the story, with him being described as a fish out of water that is also the most qualified fish and very, very far away from home. And many are speculating that Lodi is actually just a regular human dude pulled out of time by the Nine from right as the collapse was happening into our current timeline for an unknown purpose. And fun fact, Lodi was actually name dropped in the Vespers host dungeon via a secret radio message that you could only unlock if you didn't do any of the quests in the dungeon. Take a listen.
Warning. Unauthorized message coming through the anomaly. Data follows. Lodi transmitting. Status moonsick. Adrift. Odysseus protocol active. It repeats from there. Do you recognize the code?
On the antagonist side, Vex and Fallen will be the main enemy forces present on Kepler. The Vex are described to be studying Kepler because apparently the Nine can do something that they can't, and as for the Fallen, we're going to be facing off against the Fallen House of Exile, who have apparently become fixated on a being known as the Giver. Very mysterious indeed. Like I mentioned earlier, each enemy faction is sporting new combat units like the Fallen Corsairs, which are jetpack units that fly around and explode if you defeat them by destroying their jetpacks. There's also the new Vex Imp Swarm, which is a cluster of small flying units that have a shared health bar and attack the player at very close ranges. And appearance-wise, they look somewhat similar to the probe droids from Star Wars. That's about all we know concerning Kepler thus far, so now let's recap some of the game-wide system changes that we now have some new information on, starting with what Bungie are calling the new front page of the game, the Portal. Now, we've known about the existence of the Portal for a while, and that it would be the new way to launch activities throughout the game. And this is what the old concept used to look like, but now with this new version they showed, it looks quite a lot nicer. And as you can see, it still features the previously announced ops categories like Solo, Fireteam, and Pinnacle Ops, plus a quick access node to the current expansion destination, which in this case is Kepler. Overall, these categories aim to streamline what sort of content you'd like to play and will act as a hub for them. And they did show what the inside of some of these categories look like the Fireteam Ops one showcasing various strikes and battlegrounds, and the Crucible Ops one showcasing various Crucible modes. After that, they also showed a sneak peek at the challenge customization menu that was talked about last year as well, and apparently they have 50 new modifiers coming to the game on top of all the ones we currently have, which is quite a lot. And in the preview you can see that as the player makes the activity more difficult, the potential score to be earned increases, as well as the loot offerings given improving in quality. And I for one am very excited for this system, because apparently it's coming to every single activity game-wide. They also gave a quick example of a new boon modifier coming called Grappler that replaces your current grenade with 3 strand grapple charges that regen really fast, but you can't use your grapple melee as a result. But what this does is it promotes intertwining your build crafting with activity boons, which I think is pretty awesome and adds yet another interesting layer to making your builds now that you also have to take activity modifiers into consideration. Okay then, now let's talk about one of the most anticipated features of this release, which is Armor 3.0, otherwise known as the complete and total revamp of Armor. We already knew that Armor was getting a big revamp in this release, but in this stream they showed off tons and tons of new and specific details, starting with each of the 6 brand new stats that are replacing the 6 that we currently have, starting with Weapons. Weapons states that it increases weapon reload speed and handling, increases weapon damage against minor and major combatants. This stat and all the ones to follow also have an enhanced benefit that you start to accumulate through stat points that exceed 100 all the way up to 200. And for weapons, the benefit states that ammo bricks from defeated targets have a chance to contain additional rounds, increases weapon damage against bosses and opposing guardians. So having as close to 200 in weapons is 100% going to be the play for any harder content like raids and dungeons, and it's certainly what I'll be prioritizing for the day 1 raid. The other 5 stats are health, class, grenade, super, and melee. And you can pause to read each of the descriptions if you'd like, but from this it's clear to see that resilience is gone now, having been replaced in some way by health, though there's no mention of an intrinsic damage resistance gained for investing in it, so that has clearly been phased out as well. Mobility is also gone, and in none of these stats there's no mention of a jump height increase, so perhaps the 100 mobility jump height will become default. It's hard to tell at this point. But I for one am super glad that the current stats are at last getting redone. It's going to breathe so much new life into the system and finally get me to delete all my old armor from my vault. And also, like I said right at the start, the special ammo stat mentioned in previous blog posts appears to no longer exist and has been baked into the weapon stat instead. And same goes for the chance to earn a second grenade or melee charge with stat points above 200 for grenade and melee, since they now improve the damage of their respective abilities instead. Furthermore, each of the new stats displays exact percentages and timers pertaining to its effects, which is also a really nice change. Of course, Armor 3.0 is also introducing set bonuses as a new system for armor. And again, we already knew this, but in the stream they showed off some new pieces with new effects that were previously unknown. They showed off a full set of TechSec armor that comes with the following benefits. For 2 pieces worn, you get the Wrecker bonus, which states that you deal significantly increased kinetic damage to combatant shields, overshields, vehicles, and constructs. And then for when you're wearing 4 pieces, you get concussive rounds. Defeating powerful combatants or breaking a combatant shield with kinetic damage releases a disorienting kinetic shockwave. Additionally, all new legendary armor drops will come with full energy at base, so there's no need to spend materials and level them up anymore. As soon as you get a piece of armor to drop, you're able to begin build crafting with it straight away. Moving on, adjacent to the Armor 3.0 system, they also delve deeper into a new system that they're calling gear tiers, which is essentially going to act as a gear rating system for all pieces of new legendary armor and weapons you obtain going forward. Gear tiers range from tier 1 to tier 5, with tier 5 being the best possible piece of gear offering the most benefits overall. The way to tell what tier your item is via a new set of dots present on the weapon or armor icon, and in this case we're looking at a tier 5 armor piece because it has 5 dots in a line on the icon itself and in the armor inspection screen as well. So what do you actually get with each new tier? Well, for tier 5 armor, you're actually going to have 11 energy available for slotting mods rather than the standard 10 we've been used to, meaning you have a little more freedom during mod selection, but also tier 5 armor offers the best possible stats. Just look at the sheer number on offer: 20 health, 25 melee, 20 grenade, and 30 super, leading to a total of 100. When it comes to weapons, tier 5 weapons will apparently have a unique look, setting them apart from tier 4 and below versions, as well as enhanced perks that now also include barrel and mag perks, as well as the origin trait and the mod. So literally everything about the weapon can be enhanced at tier 5. While we're on the topic of weapons, you may have seen that there is now a UI element beneath your weapon UI that indicates how close you are to spawning your next special or heavy ammo finder bricks, which is such an awesome quality of life change, giving you more agency over when and where your next brick is going to spawn. Super glad they're finally doing this. Lastly, this wasn't talked about in the reveal stream, but rather in this week's TWID, but starting in the Edge of Fate, player power will be rebased and lowered to a more appealing number. And if the reveal stream figures are anything to go by, it's looking like max power will be somewhere in the 300 range, which at least for me personally, I'm a fan of this change. After they finished talking about Armor 3.0 and gear tiers, they showed off a new version of the content roadmap for 2025. And within it you have the new definitions like major updates, which Bungie likened to Into the Light in terms of size. And actually, the first major update, Ash and Iron, dropping on September 9th, 2025, is having us return to the Plaguelands from Destiny 1, featuring a new activity, new exotic mission, and 2 new exotic weapons. Very exciting stuff, and I assume the Plaguelands patrol will behave much like how the Dreadnought does now with the Nether activity in Destiny 2, where the destination itself is the activity. The next year of content is also going to have a larger number of in-game events happening far more frequently than before, such as one named Arms Week, which supposedly focuses on a singular weapon archetype that delivers a new weapon of said type to grind for, Heavy Metal, which by the time this video comes out is already active, containing the Briggs vs Tanks Crucible mode, and a host of others they didn't want to spoil. They also showed off the featured weapon coming with the Solstice event this summer and its unique holofoil appearance that honestly looks pretty sweet, and apparently the holofoil weapon treatment is going to become a lot more common in the future. The last major quality of life change is the permanent addition of a shooting range to the tower, and all I can say is hell yes dude. I for one have been itching for something like the Tribute Hall to come back, and it appears this new shooting range is the same, if not better, with it sporting in-depth enemy customization as well as a DPS and total damage tracker, which which is really awesome. And the best part, the testing dummy is called Carl. So shout out to Bungie for finally adding this long requested feature. Gone are the days of running up to Greg and Carl for testing purposes. And I for one will certainly be spending tons and tons of time in there. The last announcement they made was showing off a teaser trailer for the second expansion Renegades, which is going to be a definitively Destiny story, but with heavy inspiration drawn from Star Wars. And I'm in the camp that thinks this is a really awesome collaboration and cannot wait to get my exotic lightsaber in Destiny 2. Not much is known about the story of this expansion, but if you read the in-game teaser, it's said to revolve around uncovering mysteries surrounding a new Dredgen in Sol and building your power, credits, and notoriety. The reveal event for Renegades takes place on the 9th of September 2025, with the DLC itself releasing on the 2nd of December 2025. Finally, the brand new raid coming with Edge of Fate will release on Saturday the 19th of July, just 4 days after the initial expansion releases. And there we have it. That's all of the new information revealed to us in the Edge of Fate reveal stream. I hope you enjoyed and perhaps learned something new. Anyway, that's all for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now, dear viewer.